Hey man, welcome back to Man Time. Today's episode we're going to talk about running a water line through your homestead for your future home. Some of the missteps I made, and maybe some of this stuff will help you guys out so you don't make the same mistakes I did. Welcome to Man Time. So I took a little time off of work there to get this trench and get this water line done, and as you can see, my time off has come and gone and the water line remains. So what happened there, I was expecting this to arrive the day after, or actually before I even rented the trencher. It was supposed to be here. It was actually a week late. I had the time off work anyway. I finally just decided to get the trencher, to get the trench dug. That was a big mistake. So mistake number one, don't get the trencher and dig the trench until you have everything else lined up, being the water line, the means to drag the water line, stake the water line down, so on and so forth. I ended up going with this stuff. It's called ADS Polyflex, and it's an 1.5 inch line. Since I'm going 1,500 plus feet from the water line at the road all the way back to the home site there, and going up and down hills through the way there, I decided I needed 1.5 inch, and this is actually the easiest route, for laying your water line, and this is Waterline rated. When you're looking at hose, like tube like this, versus PVC or Schedule 80, Schedule 40 type of plumbing pipe, you need to make sure that it's constant pressure rated. So there's a lot of different tubing like this. I think this is the only one that I found. It's kind of like PEX on steroids, basically. 1.5 inch versus, PEX is 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch, stuff like that for inside the house. But this is basically the same thing as PEX. There's also an assortment of fittings that I got with it, some 90s, and you can see the design there to attach the ends. I also got some temporary plugs, more 90s, and then some adapters so you can adapt it to a regular PVC, right? So like at the road and at the meter, I'm going to need to adapt it to fit up. So this will be my adapter for that. Of course, then there's just the straight connections. So this was on Home Depot. It came in 3 different lengths, 100, 200, and 300, and it's about $1 a foot, something like that. So it's pretty pricey, but when it comes down to it, the ease of installation and the cost versus PVC, it actually comes out quite a bit cheaper. And not everybody's going to need 1.5 inch. A typical water line to your house, inch is probably plenty, if you're coming a couple hundred feet back. But I just decided I needed 1.5 inch to get maximum flow, maximum pressure, 1,500 feet back. So, right or wrong, I don't know. You tell me. I just kind of made an educated guess on what I thought I would need. Nobody really had any documentation out there, and I wasn't going to contact an engineer to tell me how. I contacted the water company. Actually, I called them up and said, I need a new service at the road. I'm running 1,500 feet. What do you recommend for a water line? Oh, inch is fine. It's PVC, whatever. So, it was like there was no kind of information I could gather. But I knew 1 inch, up and down hills was probably not going to be enough. So here we go. But anyways, back to the story. So fail number 1, right? I ran the trench and didn't have the water line and all these accessories I had the accessories, but not the water line. So anyways, I got, headstrong. I'm going to run the trench. When the water line comes, turns out to be a week later, I'll just put it in there and go on with life. Nope. Got about 6 inches of rain over the course of 2 days, maybe 8 inches over the course of 3 days. And it was like just monsoon, storming all day, like thunder, lightning, like heavy downpour. You can guess what happened, right? There are some parts of the trench that are only about that deep, and some parts of the trench that are that deep. No joke. And a gigantic washout crater. So today's adventure is going to be filling in that crater, I'm afraid. Well, seeing as how I have to get a bunch of dirt work done, I'm going to basically be switching my tractor over from kind of utility mode with the forks there and the mast to more of a dirt mode, where I'm going to be hooking up the bucket using the quick attach, and then probably going with a box blade, then trying to fire up my dump truck, Caterpillar, back to the clay dirt site. It's going to be a busy day. I never plan or I'm never thinking about like what videos to make, right? I'm just thinking about, holy crap, I got all this stuff to do on the weekend. Maybe it'd be a good idea to turn the camera on and, you know, show some people some of it, some of the struggles with homesteading and life out in the country. So I hope you guys are enjoying this. If you do, thumbs up. Let's get this switched over to dirt mode. See if we can't get some equipment piled together to move some dirt, huh? Yeah, these quick attach aren't really too bad. The trick with this Westendorf quick attach is you got to have your stuff tilted down. There's a pin right there, and you can just visually see that it's, you know, out of there. I've got this trench bucket too for the backhoe. I still haven't even tried it out. I know it fits because it's got the right pin size and the dimensions there are correct. So that's good. But yeah, there's always going to be one that doesn't want to play, guys. There we go. Then you can verify it. Yeah. I think I'm going to go with the box blade on this one. Seems to be just kind of a better universal choice when it comes to moving dirt than the grater blade. So yeah, one thing that makes it a whole lot easier to get your 3-point stuff hooked up is to pay attention to where your 3-points are, making sure that they've got the distance, you know, to go left and right when you're backing up to it, because oftentimes they'll be kind of swung one way, so you'll have to line it up so they've got, you know, room to travel the other way. It's kind of one of the things that I pay attention to here as we're going along with it. It's a good idea to get this hooked up if you can first, and then that way you can kind of adjust it side to side a little bit with that. This down a little bit. There we go. Now, you can kind of move it toward or away from where you're trying to go with this. Not much, but just sometimes just enough. Alright, last thing I want to do is see if my electrical gremlin fix for the dump truck here actually served its purpose. It's been a long time since I've had to move dirt, so this has been sitting a long time. And before that video, if I would let it sit for like a month, the battery would just be dead, you know, and just sit there and drain. So we'll see how it goes here. One thing you for sure want to do, especially like in the wintertime like this, if you haven't ran your equipment in a while, around here anyway, look for wood rats or things, mice, whatever, living now in the vehicle. Hopefully there's none in here, but we'll see if it'll start. I don't know if I mentioned that I had to replace out the, it's a solenoid that holds the fuel open on the injector pump. I had to replace that out twice now. We'll see. So close! There's actually a little bit of a loose connection right there at the battery. Woohoo! That's awesome. Water I was talking about. 1 inch of rain in a couple days. Well, here you go. This is the result from not having the water line, not, I guess, planning correctly for my path through the woods here for my homestead water line. Hopefully this video is really helpful for you guys to know that you need to plan ahead, watch the weather, and make sure you have the stuff you need to get the pipe down in the trench without any rain between trenching and getting the pipe in the ground. So hopefully that's helpful. The one other thing, the 200 foot of that, whatever it's called, Polyflex stuff, is just about the right size. The 100 foot, if you're doing like small runs, would probably be fine. 300 foot, I think it'd be a little bit heavy to manhandle with one person. 200 foot seems to be kind of right in the sweet spot where you can actually move it around and stuff like that. So hopefully you learned something from my mistakes today. That's going to do it for today on Man Time. Get out there, have you some man time too.